Hi everyone, finally back to YouTube after over a month of dealing with endless documents and paperwork. Today, I'm going to start with this question. Who doesn't like the feeling of receiving positive feedback, or when someone or a student gives you some compliment about your job? Who doesn't feel proud of themselves? Who doesn't feel happy? Who doesn't feel that they made a difference, and that was a very positive difference? Of course, we all like when we receive positive feedback, not only in teaching but in everything we do in life. The question is, when it comes to teaching, should we always be happy when we receive positive feedback? Should we be discouraged or disappointed when we receive bad feedback? Which feedback is considered good? Which feedback is not? In today's video, I'm going, as I promised before, to talk about the feedback which we receive and which feedback we should consider as constructive and which feedback we should simply ignore. Let's imagine this situation. A person who is considered to be a good thief, who can spot a rich victim, take the money, escape without leaving a trace or a piece of evidence that would eventually lead to him, is considered to be a good thief, professional. Now, the terms clever, good, professional are good terms, but don't forget we're talking about a thief, which is not a good thing. When talking about teaching, remember this golden rule: never trust the student. Now, I think I'll make another video about this rule before. I've already mentioned it in one of the videos, but I'll give it better analysis. But it's something that we should always consider, that we shouldn't always believe or trust everything the students say. Then there are several reasons which we will discuss later. But just a very quick example: whenever you say, do you understand, or is everything clear, they will always say yes, or let's say 90% of the time they will say yes, we understand, in order not to look stupid. So it's reason number one not to believe the students, and that also applies to feedback. Now, speaking of feedback, how can we differentiate between the feedback which talks about the teacher themselves and the feedback that talks about the methodology of the teacher, or how the teacher teaches? To answer this question, I took two examples from the internet, and I'm going to start with the first feedback. The feedback says, I'm reading, "I like our teacher. He or she always wears smart clothes. They make us laugh all the time, and they don't give us too much homework or too many exercises." Feedback ends here. If you take a look at this feedback, can you find, or did you find, any point which discussed the methodology of the teacher or how the teacher teaches? The answer is no. Rapport is important. Yes, the teacher makes us funny. It's good, but rapport is not everything. We have nothing that explains the way the teacher teaches during the lesson. They are talking about the teacher's clothes. They're talking about the teacher, or let's say the load of the exercises during the lesson. And that's it, nothing else. I personally have been in this situation before when I was a university student, and I remember we had a lady teacher. I used to attend all of her lectures. I never missed any of her lectures for only one reason: she was very beautiful. She was really hot. I'm not saying she was a bad teacher. I'm not saying she was bad. I just didn't pay attention. Maybe she was a good teacher, but I simply attended her lectures because I liked her. There's no other reason. And I don't remember I don't remember the subject she taught. Composition or grammar. I actually don't remember. Now, if I'm asked to give her a mark, I would definitely give her 10 out of 10. Her boss would be impressed and she would be granted with more lessons. Now the question is, did I give her 10 out of 10? because I liked her methodology or because I liked her geography. And you know what I mean by her geography. You already know the answer, since I don't remember the subject she taught. On the other side, let's take a look at this feedback of one of the teachers. She's my colleague, and we work, or I sometimes work for the courses she also works for. And I took this feedback from the online platform of that company, that courses. Again, I'm going to read it. That lady has been teaching for 50 years, and now I think she's in her 70s. She spent, I'm sure she spent more than half of her life teaching. So I'm going to read the feedback which was left by one of her students. So the feedback says, I didn't like the teacher. She spoke only English. She didn't talk a lot during the lesson. Instead, she made us talk. She used taboo game. I'm sure you know what taboo game is. If you don't know what it is, you can Google it. It's T-A-B-O-O. So she used taboo game, but games aren't for adults. She was asking us questions during grammar, but it's the students who must ask questions, not the teacher. And I also didn't like that we had to talk to each other in English only. She told us to choose a topic we like for the homework, which left us confused. End of the feedback. Now, if anyone from a well-known course or from well-known courses like any school or institute that has a partnership with Cambridge or British Council, the second teacher would be granted a permanent position in that school or courses. Anyone who studied CELTA, or anyone who has or uses the methodology of CELTA, will find out that that teacher, the second teacher, despite getting 1 out of 10, by the way, that student gave her 1 out of 10, is doing what she is supposed to do the right way, at least the right way for now, for the 21st century. In the future it might change. But for today, she's doing what she has been trained to do. That feedback gives us a lot, not everything of course, gives us a lot or too much information about the methodology which the teacher used during that lesson or during her lessons. It's in the feedback I just read. The problem is, or actually not the problem, the thing is that in teaching we need teachers, not models. In fashion we need models, but in teaching we need teachers. Unfortunately, if we're talking about the schools that provide intensive courses, and which I talked about in one of my videos, the second teacher wouldn't get anything. She would teach once in 6 or 7 months, while the first teacher, who received compliments based on her appearance or based on her clothes or his clothes, would take a lot of groups, would have to teach a lot, and should be the favorite among other teachers. And when I say these intensive courses, not only in private schools, but there are also some schools or courses that are 50-50, like 50 private, 50% private, 50% public. The students do the same course and again, most of them. They keep paying the money keeps coming, and yeah, that's it. Because they're not getting what they are supposed to get. They're not getting the knowledge they are supposed to get or they are paying for. So yeah, they keep repeating the same course. And I'm talking about the paid courses. I'm not talking about the free public courses which are financed by the government. The last part of the video is my piece of advice, what we should do. Now, if you're working for any school or company or institute or any other courses that are partners with Cambridge or the British Council, so pay too much attention to your methodology, to how you teach grammar, reading, vocabulary, everything during the lesson, because these well-known institutions or these well-known university, they give really quality lessons, and they don't care much about appearance. Of course, it does mean you go to the lesson in swimming suit, no, but priority is for the methodology. But if you are working for commercial, and I say again commercial companies or schools, my piece of advice is to do what the students want, not what they need. Well, as I always say, to do what the customers want you to do. So remember, at the end of the day, you have to live. At the end of the day, you have to pay the bills. So do what you should do, and whenever you have a chance to be or to work in a really well-known university or an institute which is connected to Cambridge or British Council or I think Oxford, yeah, but for now, in order to live, in order to pay the bills, okay, deal with the customers. So that's what I wanted to talk about today in my video. I'll try my best to post another video about the students, about why we shouldn't trust them, and what we should do in order to find out if they really understand or not. If you like what you watch, please leave a like or leave a comment. Tell us about your experience, about your stories if you have any. Share your experience, share your ideas, so share anything you want in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching, and see you later.